mean, we were thinking heading up to this, we were only going to talk NFL schedule release, but winners and losers. But then this Russell Wilson thing just came out of nowhere that allegedly the Seahawks offered Russell Wilson for the Browns' first overall pick back in 2018, which eventually was Baker Mayfield. But I feel like, do we know that they wanted to take Baker Mayfield with that pick?
I don't know that we do. I also can't imagine that that's real. I just have such a hard time imagining that the Seahawks actually offered Russell Wilson up.
I mean, there has been crazier things. Allegedly, this was the team that wanted to sign Cam Newton as their backup this year for God knows what reason. Like, Russell Wilson is never injured, so it's not like you can use that angle, be like, we just wanted a good backup in case Russ goes down.
There must be someone in the Seahawks organization who doesn't like Russ. I can't imagine that the Seahawks are actually considering bringing in Cam Newton or that they actually wanted to trade him in the first place. Russell Wilson is like, if not the best quarterback right now, he's second best behind Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget, even though Patrick Mahomes has basically taken the league by storm, last year the MVP discussion for the majority of last season was Russell Wilson.
Yeah, it was Russell, and he kind of deserved it. I mean, the Seahawks always have one of the worst offensive lines in football. I think last year they were like 29th, according to PFF, maybe, and Russell Wilson is still winning 11 games a season. I mean, that's just Russell Wilson is so good. I can't take the disrespect with him.
Oh, no, me neither. I mean, especially when I decided to take this in like, when you think about this, what look is this worse for? Is this worse for the Seahawks trying to give away the face of their franchise for a basically an unknown when your quarterback's already guaranteed to be a Hall of Famer? Or is it bad for the Browns who rejected the trade being like, yeah, Russ is pretty good, but this Baker guy's got something special?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. Yeah, I gotta go with the Browns. Oh my God, yeah. I mean, Cleveland turned down, if this is real, if it's real, Cleveland said no to possibly the greatest quarterback of our generation, which is just like the most Cleveland Browns thing I think I've ever heard. But it's still also really dumb if it is true that Seattle offered Russell Wilson up. Because, like, before Russell Wilson got to Seattle, like, what were the Seahawks, you know? They were a perennial 7-9 or worse team, and they were kind of a laughing stock, you know? Seattle had never won a Super Bowl before Russell Wilson. They never even been. Like, they were known as, like, the flashy team out west with kind of cool uniforms, and that was just about it. Then Russell Wilson comes to town, and in 8 years, they have not had a losing season. Like, in 8 years, he's gotten them to 2 Super Bowls. That's a pretty good percentage, getting to the Super Bowl 25% of the time. You know, I just don't get all the leaks and the disrespect with Russell Wilson because he's so good, and I would kill to have him on my team. I'm just saying.
I mean, the Browns, they've been pretty solid with Baker. They've been 12-17.
Oh, that's stellar.
That's pretty sweet. And I honestly would argue that what Baker had last year is more talented on offense than what Russ has had basically in his entire career.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, Russell Wilson has never had elite weapons around him except beast mode. I mean, I think their best
Sidney
receiver,
Rice.
Sidney Rice, yeah. Percy Harvin.
Percy Harvin always panned out.
Yeah. Didn't Percy Harvin used to get high before every game?
Yeah,
I think that was him, right?
He is attempting an NFL comeback. So if you're looking for a speedster that will pull his hammy by week 2, call up Percy Harvin.
Yeah. I mean, Percy Harvin, he was really good, especially at college when he was at Florida. He played with Tim Tebow. But yeah, I mean, Seattle's never had great weapons around Russ. Like, who's their best option right now? Tyler Lockett?
Yeah.
I guess probably DK Metcalf is he will be a better player, but right now Lockett's the more refined receiver.
If Metcalf knows how to run any other route but straight.
But straight, yeah. That's all they do with them is just send them deep down the field.
All right, go muscle the corner and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but like Russell Wilson has done more with less than anybody I can think of in professional football. And he's like the perfect dual threat player for today's NFL, right? Like, he's mobile, he can escape pressure, he can run if he needs to, but he avoids hits pretty much at all costs.
Mhm.
So he knows how to protect himself, and yet he knows how to escape and to make something happen out of nothing. On top of the fact that he's just really, really good. Like the guy already has over 20 career, fourth quarter and overtime comebacks, and yet he's only in year 8. And he's already got more comebacks than Jim Kelly, Boomer Esiason, Randall Cunningham, all these like greats. So I really don't understand what's going on in Seattle. I don't know if they're actually considering bringing in Cam Newton and actually wanted to trade him, or if just someone in the organization is leaking this.
I feel like it's actually true because after this like whole trade rumor thing happened, guess who they signed as their new backup? Geno Smith, the least threatening backup quarterback to Russell Wilson. So they're like, yeah, sorry this rumor came out, so we kind of gave up on Cam Newton. Here's Geno Smith. You don't have to worry about your job.
We're not going to replace you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Geno Smith's like, what the hell?
Yeah. Geno Smith is a good backup too. Hasn't he been in Seattle?
I think he was for a little bit, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he was too.
But he is awful.
He's awful.
He is beloved by Giants fans.
Good thing Russell Wilson has never missed a game in his 8 seasons in the NFL. So Geno Smith never has to see the field.
Damn. That is a tough look for Geno.
No disrespect, Geno Smith, but Russell Wilson is another level.
And you are not even an average level. So Baker Mayfield, just to talk about what the Browns did end up getting with that pick they really coveted. Like I said, 12-17 as a starter. That's pretty sweet. And for a quarterback that was only praised for being a very accurate college quarterback, his completion percentage over his career is 61.5, which is definitely not the NFL average for completions. He has 49 touchdowns and 35 interceptions, but let's not forget that 2019, he was basically atrocious. He
was so bad.
He had a sub-60 completion percentage at 59.4. He brought the Browns to 6-10. Whew, that was the season that everyone was thinking they'd have when the season started. He also threw 22 touchdowns with 21 interceptions. So let me get this straight. He was 6-7 in his first year, but the second year, I know there's the second-year film, but also his team was a lot better in his second year than it was in his first year. They got much better amount of offensive weapons. Another year under his belt. He should have also taken a jump, even though the film is still there, especially if you're a first-round pick. And for a quarterback that is dependent on accuracy, he is below 60% in his second year. So I know what you're thinking on paper there, like that's pretty bad. But let's just think about in the last season. These were the quarterbacks in the NFL with a higher accuracy last season than Baker Mayfield. We got Andy Dalton. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Mitch Trubisky.
Ooh.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh, boy.
Jacoby Brissett. Daniel Jones. Mason Rudolph.
Oh, no.
And Case Keenum.
Oh, my God.
By the way,
God.
just to say, Russell Wilson was 66%, which is a smidge better. So
that's what Russell Wilson's done over his entire career, is post 65, 66, 67% completion percentages every single year. Every season he's been in the NFL.
Baker's been the king of yeah. He went from 63% in his first year to 59% in his second year.
Oof.
And so let's look at the biggest wins between these two quarterbacks in their first 2 years. I mean, we got with Baker Mayfield, he beat the Ravens in week 4.
Week 4, yeah. Yep.
40-25. I bet you're wondering.
We'll give him that one.
Yeah, he probably did pretty well, right? Not really. He was 20 for 30 for 342 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That's weird. How'd they win that game then? Oh, they won because Nick Chubb carried the ball 20 times for 165 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. What were Russell Wilson's first 2 seasons like, just for comparison? Because Baker Mayfield, not a good start to his career, but also last season his head coach was Freddie Kitchens, And he is also only 2 seasons into the NFL.
Yeah, that would make sense. But I mean, let's see, Russell Wilson. What did he do in his first 2 years? That was pretty impressive. Oh, in his rookie year, he beat Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady in the same year. Oh, but you probably would think because in the early years they didn't use him that much. I mean, I guess he was 10 for 21 against Green Bay for 2 touchdowns and 130 yards, and against New England, he was 16 for 27 for 293 yards and 3 touchdowns. But don't worry, Baker in his rookie year also beat the Buffalo Bills.
The Bills with Josh Allen?
Yep.
Wow, that's impressive. Josh Allen, who still can't complete more than 60% of his passes.
Don't worry,
At least Baker is a step above that.
Yeah, I mean, that was in his second year, so you'd probably think, the film probably would catch up with Russell Wilson, right? Okay, yeah, maybe. He won the Super Bowl in his second year, and he also on the road to there beat New Orleans, and he was 19 for 26 for 2 touchdowns and 289 yards. Notice how there's no interceptions in these good games.
No, there aren't.
And then against the slaughter of Denver. I know that was mostly the defense, but even when he had the ball, he was 18 for 25, 206 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, Russell Wilson did not lose that Super Bowl. I'm mad that you brought that up. That's PTSD for a Broncos fan.
I'm sorry to do that to you, but
it's okay. I was just having a great day, Corey. You just had to ruin it.
I am so sorry. The biggest losses of Baker to me are way worse than the lack of emphasis he has on those wins. I mean, he played. I don't know if you remember Week 1 this year. He played the Titans and they lost 43-13. I know you're thinking the Titans made the wild card. This is back when they had Mariota and their offense was stagnant, and they lost. And Baker, okay, he had 3 touchdowns and 279 yards, but oh, wow, he only completed 12 of 27, and he threw 3 interceptions? That's pretty weird. But that's not even where – it's not how – they always say it's not where you start, it's where you finish. I don't like where he finished either because they lost to the 2-14 Bengals 33-23, and he is the sole reason they lost. He was 25 for 38 for 285 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions against the Bengals.
Oh, Baker.
How on earth do they do this?
No, yeah, and in hindsight, the proposed trade between Seattle and Cleveland, it was just straight up Russell Wilson for Baker. Just straight up Russell Wilson for the first overall pick, was it not?
I think so. I mean, maybe they like Darnold more, I guess.
Maybe.
Because, that USC tie.
Uh-huh. Yeah, with Pete Carroll. Yeah, but, I mean, come on. We could do the same thing for Sam Darnold, over his, I guess, last year was his second season, right? Same class as Baker. He doesn't compare to Russell Wilson, Russell Wilson has 9 playoff wins. He has more playoff wins in the last 8 years. He has more than double the number of playoff wins the last 8 years than Drew Brees had all last decade. And Drew Brees played 2 extra seasons than him. Russell Wilson, he's made the Pro Bowl 6 times in 8 years. His career touchdown to interception ratio is 3.5 to 1. He's got 227 touchdowns to only 68 career interceptions. Russell Wilson is so head and shoulders above almost every single other quarterback in the NFL. It just boggles my mind that Seattle would even entertain the idea of getting rid of him.
First off, Russell Wilson's a robot because in his rookie and second year, his stats were almost exactly identical. He threw for 26 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and he had 4 game-winning drives in his rookie year. In his second year, he improved by the slightest margin possible. 26 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 4 game-winning drives.
Yeah. Consistency is the hallmark of Russell Wilson's game, and it's something he talks about himself a lot, is that what makes the great ones great is how consistently they can perform. And Russell Wilson, too, the fourth quarter comebacks in each of his first 2 years, that's right on par for what he's done over his career, having already over 20 comebacks in just 8 seasons. He was speaking to someone this offseason. I think it was a few months back, actually. And he said that if it's late in the game and you're giving Seattle a chance, and you see him run on the field, he wants to strike fear in his opponent's hearts. And when I see Russell Wilson jog onto the field with 2 minutes left in a game, that's how I feel as an opposing fan. He is just so much better than every other quarterback alive except for Patrick Mahomes right now. There's really nothing else to say.
Yeah, I
Put
mean,
some respect on Russ's name.
I feel like you said, the O-line for Russ has been terrible his whole career. And you know what was the major complaint about the Browns last year? That they had a terrible offensive line.
Bad O-line, yeah.
And Baker's just not the same quarterback in that way. Like, not only is he not that mobile, which is, like, I guess not an issue for, like, a problem. I can't say that's a flaw for Baker because he was never known as being mobile anyway. But at the same time, Russell Wilson is the face of the Seahawks franchise. So for that reason alone, I would say it probably looks worse on the Seahawks for getting rid of the best player they've had in probably their entire history.
Yeah, agreed. And you know, did you see this other thing too? The Pro Football Focus list of best players the last decade. Did you get a chance to take a look at that list?
Below Richard Sherman.
Yeah, Russell Wilson over the last decade was ranked as only the fourth best Seattle Seahawk. Like really, Earl Thomas is better than Russell Wilson. And he was ranked in the 30s as like the 33rd best overall player of the last decade.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's just wrong. Like Matt Ryan is rated as a better quarterback than Russell Wilson.
That was solely based off of his MVP.
Yeah, I guess. But when was the last time Russell Wilson had a 4-win season? Never. Russell Wilson has had only 9-win seasons and up.
Matt Ryan, though, I'm so confused on Matt Ryan. Like, how are
he
people?
Had that,
like, what are people going to remember
him
it for?
Year when Kyle Shanahan was the OC.
Yeah.
That one time.
He's always been pretty solid. So I just don't know where we're going to, like, remember Matt Ryan when we look back on his career. We're going to be, like, because I feel like Falcons fans probably view him as, like, overall the best quarterback they've had. Obviously, Michael Vick was better, like, for a shorter amount of time. But I feel like they would think of Matt Ryan as, like, their stalwart, like, franchise quarterback.
Yeah. To be fair to Matt Ryan, he is probably the best quarterback Atlanta's had. Mike Vick was more talented, but the longevity gives the edge to Matt Ryan. But Matt Ryan and Russell Wilson shouldn't be in the same sentence.
No,
and that's not like disrespect to Matt Ryan because he is a really good quarterback. I still think he's a top 10 NFL quarterback. But again, Russell Wilson, the things he's done, it just goes above and beyond what Matt Ryan has ever accomplished. You know, I mean, Russell Wilson has a ring. He's one correct play call away on the goal line from 2 rings. You know, Matt Ryan doesn't have the same number of career comebacks, right? Like Matt Ryan wasn't going down the field for 4 fourth quarter comebacks his rookie year and his sophomore season. You know, like Matt Ryan doesn't have the number of playoff wins that Russell Wilson has. So to me, like we're talking about apples and oranges. They're just 2 entirely different players on 2 entirely different tiers.
Yeah, 100%.
No disrespect to Matt Ryan, but
it's no disrespect to Matt Ryan. I mean,
yeah,
it's like Russell Wilson's a surefire Hall of Fame quarterback, and
already, yes.
Matt Ryan, I would say, is like Eli Manning tier, I guess, on that.
Yeah.
Not because of like, okay, so I know all the Giants fans would probably dive down my throat immediately being like, Eli's won 2 Super Bowls. And I'm just,
yes.
And I would just say in response, yeah, but Matt Ryan is definitely a more winning quarterback over his career and has not doesn't have the most interceptions in a season under his belt.
Yeah. Matt Ryan is more talented than Eli, but Eli won. So you have to give Eli that credit. No, and he did it twice. He did it twice, which proves it isn't a fluke. Whereas Matt Ryan, he gets to the Super Bowl once against the Patriots, and we all remember how that one went. Don't we, Corey?
Yeah, we do.
28-3.
Hell yeah.